We got Andy from Toy Story with us today.
That's right. Took the boot.
Yeah, I got his boots on, boy.
I gotta write Andy on the bottom of it. Did he?
Well,
What
hey.
kind of shirt did he wear?
Welcome to Good Men Trying. We are a podcast that focuses on...
Trying to make men better in the relationships that matter most to them.
Woo! I'm Brett Moore. That's Marland May. And we are chatting with you today about something that I think is pretty important. But before we get into the topic, it's been about a month since we released anything.
It's been a little bit since we got together.
And I do want to follow up because anyone who's following the last episode knows that you are a huge football fan.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to say kind of about how everything went, the teams that won, any of that?
So much. The last episode we shot, it was pre-round of 32. Conclusions hadn't happened. We have now suffered through multiple scandals and losses. I don't even know if you know, but the president of Argentina's soccer club got arrested by the FBI today.
What?
For potential embezzlement charges.
What?
So crazy. So crazy.
Oh
So crazy. And if this is your first time joining us, my wife is from Argentina, and the last time we talked, I'm a big France supporter because I used to live there. But I married into the Argentine football club. We went to a banderazo, which is basically where you go the day before the game and you just chant and pass around Maradona flags and just have a great
How many
time.
people are there?
So we were in downtown Dallas. I kid you not, it was an easy 5,000 to 10,000.
5,000 to 10,000.
Easily.
That's wild.
And the drums didn't stop beating from when we got there at 6 to when we left at about 8.
I have a friend who's in Switzerland right now, and they watched the finals game, and they were at a watch party there, and the Argentina fans did not stop drumming for, I guess, 3-4 hours.
Oh, we had the pleasure of going to a game here in the Metroplex.
Which game did you go to?
We went to the Jordan-Argentina game.
Sick.
Argentine fans showed up hours before and refused to leave the stadium for hours after we won.
Big party.
That's the partying atmosphere. Unfortunately, in the big game, Argentina was swirled with controversy.
Sure.
You may be following us from recent rage bait posts we might have let leak out there in the internet. And we were called many things, but as a black person, I am not supposed to vote for Argentina, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, did you know you were a racist before?
I didn't know that
before the World Cup.
So everyone's been painted with a broad brush.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of weeks.
Okay, but small experience. Your family here in Dallas and Plano. Like, what was that like?
It was genuinely, and I mean this genuinely and respectfully, really cool to see my kids connect with another side of their culture.
Sure.
That I haven't even participated in before. So we all kind of experienced it together.
For the first time.
Which was really unique. And I'm so happy that they were able to not just do that, but had so much fun. And I tried to get them to wear a France jersey.
Dude, Annie was killing you with those AI-generated pictures.
No,
French Marland.
That wasn't Annie. That was my boy TL. He was the one that was killing me with the AI pictures because
we'll for the viewer
we'll have to add those.
We'll add some of those in.
But yeah, no, it was a great experience.
Amazing. We all went and saw the Odyssey as well.
We did.
Yeah, and that's relevant if you've watched the previous episodes because we talk a little bit about the Odyssey and Odysseus in terms of confidence. What'd you think of the movie?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought the descriptions of Odysseus, particularly as he's becoming aware that he's somewhere where he's not supposed to be trying to find his memory, I found that to be the pinnacle of what we talked about relying on our confidence, relying on those attributes of resilience and competencies and self-awareness. I made the connection in the theater. Now, Annie didn't quite make that, but
Oh, she didn't love it as much.
No, she loved it, but I don't think she was as deep into the philosophy of the movie as we are.
Yeah. What'd you think, Cody?
Oh man, I love the movie. I thought it was really well done. I thought the biggest thing about the people from the sea was great, like where he just that moment of realization. There were so many scenes I liked, but when they kept going back to the sacking of Troy and how he said the hate and anger that poured into that city, and it like broke him down, and you could see it. I think Matt Damon did a great job, got the performance out of him, where he just was like, you really felt like that's what broke, like that's when he died,
And had to become someone new.
Yeah, like I'm reading that Dungeon Crawler book series. It's really silly.
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, and there's a saying that in the books that everyone who enters the dungeon dies. And it's not because everybody actually dies. Like some people do make it to the end, but they're so changed that who they were has died. And that's such a pivotal moment in his life. And he's like, not only did we kill ourselves, we killed our culture. We forever marked a new path after this, And I thought that was a fun way to take it. It's kind of like, I don't know, I like, Starship Troopers was a book that became a movie that was totally in kind of contrast the way people saw it. And I thought the Odyssey did a good job of retelling the story in a more modern way of viewing it, a new lens. That I think most people just think of Odysseus as clever. He came up with all these cool ways to get out of things. Like even the Cyclops was like a trick, He's a tricky little guy, and it's maybe more accurate, right? But the movie was more what we needed to hear, I think. So
there's something you just said that resonates, and it actually kind of points me to the topic of the episode today, which is becoming. He was becoming someone different, and I interpreted one of the things I thought was so cool is that he had to become someone new, literally, to get home. He had to let go of these traits that had, at least in the framing of the movie, he had to let go of these traits that had marooned him in the first place. Give control up, stop fighting in order to get home. He had literally had to change who he was to get home, which is interesting because he was already this like super competent version, best general ever, best idea ever. Everyone who talked about him in these mythical terms, but he needed to change. He wasn't the best version of himself or the version he needed to be in order to get home.
Which is curious on your point, because what I remembered specifically that he pointed to as the changing in him was using something that was meant for peace and religion and using it for war and not its original purpose.
Right.
And so that when he became aware of that, you could see not just the physical repercussions of that, but the emotional toil and even the psychological peril of, I'm not ready to face the music of the consequences of my actions.
Right.
And I think that is a point that we want to talk about today. As you're becoming, as you are going through life, are there stages where you may have to reset because the trajectory is not what you thought?
Sure. And like, just to start off, like tone setting, do you guys think that you can arrive at a version of you that is the best version of you? Or do you think you can achieve some milestone that once you're there, you no longer have to try? Like, if I could just get this house, if I can just get this job, if I can just get that girl to marry me, if I can just have that car, then I'll be set. Then I'm just coasting. Then I'm just maintaining. Like, do you think that that's a thing that's real?
Well, if we can just get a few more subscribers,
we'll be rich.
I do think it's real, because when you think about major milestones in your life, it's, hey, let me find somebody that's better than everybody else. Then let me secure that in marriage. Let me figure out whether I want kids. Then while you're doing all that, presumably you already have the job, but it's not the job that not your forever job. It's just your for now job. And you're always going to the next milestone, the next rung on your metrics ladder. But I think you also forget to enjoy the moments where you are and the pleasure and the seasons that you are in. I think religiously, as we've all been grown up in the church.
Cody, play the hymn.
I need to do that.
We were conditioned to believe that you could never actually attain. And so you always try to do some work on yourself spiritually, some type of way to get there. And I think to a degree, when you're comfortable with where you are as an individual, you stop trying.
Kate got this new car and had it for about a week.
Ooh.
And she parked it in the driveway just outside the garage door. And she parked it in the middle of the driveway just outside the garage door, which I have learned is not her fault. It is my fault for what happened after this. My fault alone. Which is, I was in a hurry.
Uh-huh.
I opened the garage door. I did not look. I did not look at the camera that has the full view.
You can't trust that backup camera, man.
I did not listen to the sensor that was beeping. I just backed up.
Yeah.
And hit Kate's brand new car.
In the middle of the driveway.
In the middle of the driveway, which was my fault.
Which was your fault.
Which was my fault.
And how did you...
So I was immediately red hot angry.
I can only imagine.
But what am I going to say? What it was like it. I was red hot angry. I got in the house and I saw Kate, and all the anger that wanted to come out just turned to, I'm so sorry. I backed into your brand new car.
Did she hear it?
As a capable human man who should have used his sensors and or visuals. And there's a rear view mirror. There's side view mirrors, all of these things, right? So long story short, I have to immediately fix Kate's car.
Right then and there.
Immediately.
Yeah. Did you do it yourself?
I call a friend who runs a body shop. He's like, this is what needs to happen. We take it to the shop. We get it fixed. I pay for that out of pocket because we don't want that insurance claim.
Of course not.
Especially on the new car.
Oh.
It was a pretty penny, and that's okay because it got fixed in a very reasonable amount of time. Kate was happy again. She was not angry with me anymore. My car also has the scars of this particular battle on it to this day. And I'm thinking, why?
Uh-huh.
Why did I have to fix Kate's car and not fix my own car? Why didn't I fix my own car? It's not that we don't have the money. That wasn't the problem. It's not that I don't have the time. That wasn't the problem. Or somebody to do it. That wasn't the problem. I think the truth is, like, Kate cares about presentation, and the culture of her family cares about presentation, and things need to be orderly and tidy, and the house needs to be picked up, and all of these things. Like, you need to have a very put together appearance. And not only your appearance, but like you need to be put together. Your life needs to be put together. And so for Kate to have some big old ding on her car, not okay. That would not have been okay. So, and I know that. I know my wife. So immediately I fix it. But for me, I don't care. And I started thinking, why don't I care? Well, one, it was going to be a couple $1,000s to fix this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What dawned on me was, this car is not my identity. Like, it transports my identity. But for me, I don't care about the outward so much, the aesthetic so much.
Mm-hmm.
And the culture of my family wasn't to do that. So it's just a different place I'm coming from. There are people who define themselves by their car, their job, their house, their vacation house, and all of those things. And that's not inherently a bad thing. It's different from me, but it's not bad in any way. And then there are people who define themselves by inward-facing traits, like their loyalty, their character, their honesty, like inward-facing things. And I realized I am almost 95% in that camp. So there's certainly a Venn diagram of overlap between those two things.
Here's what my mom would tell you. I almost called you Bartholomew because you require some type of biblical name at the end of Brett. Brett, your damage on your car is a reflection of me and how your father and I raised you. That's what my mom would say. As a matter of fact, I remember my mother telling me that my grandparents or no, that my mom and her siblings, when they were going to school, their reputation of the Voisin name was so important.
Say that again.
The reputation of the Voisin name.
Voisin?
Voisin. It's yeah.
Hold on. I got this. Voisin?
Close enough. If you were walking in Trinidad and there was a man on a bike or a moped, because that's transportation in the 50s, 60s, and they knew you were attached to that name, they would offer you a ride. Or if you were walking by a house and a mango tree was there, and because of the name of your family, you were more than able to grab a mango from that tree.
So you were like, it was a well-liked family.
It was that your name had currency.
Sure.
Because it was the goodwill of whoever continued to input into the bank of trust into the community that garnered that. So because of all of that, I can't, and by default, my children cannot leave the house with a shirt wrinkly because it's a reflection on my mother. So I agree. There are things outwardly that matter to the appearance. And I think there's things inwardly that also matter. But there's this nebulous in between where things like reputation or who you're associated with or things like that also kind of come up in the center of this Venn diagram. And it's curious how different people will deal with that in between.
Do you have physical things that you feel like define you? Like a car, like artwork in your house, like books,
like a cowboy hat.
Yeah, seriously, cowboy hat, jacket.
Couple of pictures of lions in the house, and I do think those define me a lot.
Yeah, and like if they left your house, do you feel like part of you would be?
I would be
not expressed.
Yes. Now this black band on my ring finger, this wedding ring. My wife wants it to define me.
Say more about that.
I'm not one. I don't like wearing jewelry, despite how blinged out I am right now. I saw a video of Jimmy Fallon having a ring occlusion finger where basically his ring finger got stuck on something and it almost tore his whole hand. And since then, I just have been really cautious. So I don't wear it when I work out. I don't wear it throughout the day. I don't really wear it because the wedding band does not signify to me my commitment and my value and my virtue.
Right. You could lose the band but still be married.
Correct.
With all the convictions you have.
I don't need a tattoo around it because that's not going to stop me from doing anything against the words that I said that I would commit and keep. I think a lot of people have problems with that.
Yeah.
I do think there are things that are physically manifesting or manifestations of my identity or who I am that I do to appease the masses.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was just for me and I'm just thinking about the things that are value to me, they are sentimental things that I pick up through my travels. And most of them have to do with something with a lion.
You have those things as like a talisman of how much you love to travel. Mm-hmm. It's like a physical reminder of how much you love to travel. And you enjoy it.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. And then if people came over to your house, they might use that as an opportunity to ask about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about your identity and what it's made of, the things that define you, and especially the things that you're presenting to the world as defining you, if you remove that item, if it went away, would it take away from you? Would you find yourself feeling different about yourself? So for instance, that car that you love, you know, if you're the Porsche guy.
Flava Flav with his necklace.
Potentially.
Also, he wouldn't know what time it is. It'd be a double whammy.
That's a great point, Cody. Thank you for that. But yeah, for instance, your car or your house, if you lose those items, does it change the way you feel about yourself? Do you suddenly feel less than, less confident, less of a success in life?
After I got divorced, I had a mentor tell me, because I was struggling with this, am I damaged goods or am I damaged, but still good?
Oh, I like that.
And what you're describing is if you lose the part of you that the world or your friend group or yourself see in the mirror as the culmination of who you are, can you still continue? I think the answer to that is it is very difficult to pull yourself out of the result pathway of what happened to you, whether it's losing the car or whatnot, and try to find a way to, one, be comfortable with who you are without those items, and then second, how do you rebuild from scratch, and do you add these little trinkets back? So the reason why my wedding band is not a significant factor for me is because it didn't stop my ex-wife from doing the things that she did with people that she did.
Mm-hmm.
So my lived experiences has taught me something that I'm now carrying into this new version. Now, the better question is that fair for whoever you're with in the moment, or the people you're trying to develop relationships with? And so I would say, as a part of that, particularly if you're listening, and that item, if it's material, is what's holding you back, I think that is something that you should spend some time reflecting on.
I was thinking about Olympic athletes when they're done with their career, and whether they got a gold or not. There's like a whole documentary series like Michael Phelps did. I know about it, but my wife watches all that stuff. I don't watch it, but it was all, how do you cope with losing that part of your identity? Or if you're if you're an athlete and you're done playing, basketball or baseball, what do you do now with your life? Mm-hmm. It's not even just the things that you're associated. It's a lifestyle. It's a goal you had. It's you've arrived. Now what? Who are you now?
Right.
That's a weird thing to have to come to terms with, especially I'm 40 now, and I'm like, oh, like, what do I, is this where I stop, or what's the next level? It's kind of interesting.
It is interesting too, because I feel like if you can find a safe place for the intrinsic parts of your identity that you're servicing by the sport, so your work ethic, your integrity, your drive to succeed, your ambition. If you find another space for that, then you could apply all of those intrinsic values to some other task and conquer. I mean, look at Michael Jordan. He built Jordan Brand. He plays golf. He doesn't seem sad that he's not playing basketball, I guess is my point. Mm-hmm. He's the greatest basketball player of all time, and he doesn't feel very sad to me that he's no longer playing basketball. Because all of those intrinsic things that made him Michael Jordan, he found a home for.
Ironically, you bringing up Michael Jordan, I rewatched his 2022 or 23 acceptance speech into the Hall of Fame.
Oh man!
And
he threw some shade at people.
Well, so this is what I was curious about, because the people that know him said this was authentically Michael. Mm. You want to talk about someone and understand where they get their motivations from. His analogy was, how many logs can I put on the fire to motivate me to do other things? So I now understand his transition from competitiveness to business success is saying, yeah, this is what I believe he's hearing in his head. You might have been a great basketball player, but there's no way. And you might have been an okay baseball player, but there's no way you're going to be a great golfer. And there's definitely no way you're going to be you're going to own a NASCAR team. And there's absolutely no possible way anything, if you wanted to come back into basketball, you're going to get a championship. It's not possible.
Right.
And I think this is what he hears. And so you're saying he hasn't stopped. He's just found a new home for his motivation. He doesn't settle. Yeah.
So I have this theory that those who never stop becoming the next version of themselves are those that not only succeed often in life, but are also just the happiest and most secure. Mm-hmm. I'm picturing like a rock in the middle of a stream, and it's immovable because it's hard and it's just not going to move. It's settled. I am a rock. I live here. But the stream is going to wear it down. And if you think of life as the stream, it's constantly changing. It's constantly pushing forward. It's going to wear you down. And I do think that people who feel like they've arrived at a position, I'm good, man. I'm good here. I'm settled. Those are the people who tend to have the most friction around them.
I think it can go both ways. I think someone can be in a state of never being able to settle and always wanting to try to like do better and be unhappy because they're never happy with where they are.
Sure.
And then I think there's people who can be more content and live like a simple, happy life with what they got. And they're just like, really, that's where they wanted to be. And they just keep peace around them. But I do agree with you that more often than not, someone who's fixed is going to have more friction in their life than someone who's adapting, you know.
Yeah. So let's look at this idea of becoming, of not becoming too fixed, and let's like run it through the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So when you think of the self, when you think of yourself, what do you think that you could, if you stopped changing right now, that the Marland 10 years from now would be the Marland you wanted to be?
Absolutely not. It would. If I stopped improving now, I would equate it to the superstar high school athlete that just let themselves go after college and they're irrecognizable as someone who they once were. One, my pride won't allow me to do that. And two, my ambitions and goals and dreams won't allow me to do that. So I think for me, I have checks along the way. But I also realize that, and ironically something that I mentioned in Elevate Fatherhood, is there should be an amount of time that you check yourself and say, hey, when was the last time I taught my child something? When was the last time I did work on myself? So there are times where I will just go quit TV, social media, whatever it is, to look inward because I feel like I'm stagnant and it feels sluggish. It feels like you need an oil change.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cody, what do you think?
I actually have a question for Marlon on that. What would happen if 10 years from now you didn't accomplish the things? Or what would you say to someone who's in a situation like that? You know, how would you help someone who's like, hey, I'm not where I wanted to be. Now what? You know, like, because it doesn't mean you have to give up either, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I was picking up from Brett. It's like, it's a state of open-mindedness. And you've never, it's not like you hit some people feel like if they don't hit something by a certain time, then they're done. It's like you moved out to LA. If I'm not an actor and I'm not successful, and like Anthony Hopkins didn't get famous until he was like 60, you know what I mean? You know, it's like, okay, well, sometimes everybody's timeline is going to be different and your measure of success is going to be different. So let's say 10 years from now, you have just as much as you have now. You've done just as much as you did now, but maybe you've changed. Maybe that version of you looks back and go, well, the things I thought I wanted is not what I wanted. And actually what I wanted was to open up a donut shop with your best friend, Cody. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not suggesting it.
I'll do it, buddy. I'll do it.
It reminds me of the words of a really good poet / philosopher. The more money I come across, the more problems I see.
Amen.
I say that because when I was 10 years ago, I was a teacher.
Yeah.
I did not have the career that I have now. And I can't tell you how many nights that I have laid awake thinking, I wish I could just go back to that.
Sure.
Because it's not what I thought it was. Because it's an in-between step to where, to your point, Cody, to where I want to go, but I've just taken a detour to get there.
Sure.
And if you're listening and this is something that you're dealing with, I will share how I pull myself out of that episode, which is I like to take routes where I can smell the flowers, observe the birds, see the rabbits, see the trees. I'm not always on the most direct route because when you take the more scenic path, you become aware of things about yourself and you have a chance to settle into the person you're going to become without all of the, in my case, the external audience, the fame, the things that I want to do with whatever I have.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad taught me that we learn through hard times and experiences, and to enjoy the valleys that you walk through, because you're only going to climb that mountain at the end of this, and you're going to look back and you're going to wish for the time when you can just have settled by the brook and enjoyed the listening to the flapping of the butterfly's wings, because up there, when you finally get there, it's a different game.
And I love the analogy of climbing a mountain as well, because even if you climb a mountain, a lot of people like to think that the mountaintop is the destination, but that's not the end of the journey.
Yeah, it's just one
Unless
summit.
you want to die up there.
Yeah.
You got to come back down, and then you got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you forgot something.
And then
gotta
you
go
forgot
back
something, so you got to
and
go
get
back
it.
up the mountain.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
the worst part.
and I like that too, because one of the things I wrote down was, some people are tempted to say, this is just who I am. Like, if you don't like it, sorry, take it or leave it. It's just who I am. It's what I've always been. It's what I'll always be. And I think a better version of that, and a version of that in which there's less friction around you, a version of that in which you give yourself the space and grace to improve, is this is just who I am today.
If you let things define you, as you mentioned earlier, if you let your career define you as a person, or you just allow yourself to be boxed in and be defined and frozen in a moment of time, you're probably going to be unhappy ultimately.
I think you'll feel out of sync.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
With the world.
It's the world is a river of time, and you're moving along it.
So I'm glad you brought up these other facets, because I wanted to move through the ecosystem. What do you think of this idea of becoming as a husband through the lens of a husband?
I don't know how you can. This is a living, breathing human that changes every 2 weeks. How can you? There's not a formula that God has created that works yet.
Yes.
For the sake of the podcast, his wife is a spicy Latina. There's no lion that this lion tamer can tame here.
The only thing that I know to be constant is change.
Yeah, 100%. If you decide who your wife is and you start catering to that, like let's say you get married, year 1, you decide, I know my wife. Year 5, you realize, I don't know who this person is and she doesn't know who I am.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who end up in that situation, but I think they've also closed the door to understanding who the person they're married to is and how they changed and what they're interested in and what's the new thing they're interested in and where is that going to take them. I think it's really easy, especially when you have kids, to compartmentalize in a way that like you close the door.
Before
You're this kind of person and I'm this kind of person. Good? Are we good? Great. Okay, cool. And because that's easy. Now you don't have to do any work. But the idea that someone's just going to be the same person for 10, 15, 20 years is insane.
I think this is the trap that, I don't know if you guys have seen this stuff online, where guys talk about, I don't want to marry the hot woman because of all these expectations. So they go for somebody a little bit, in their mind, lower on the scale.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And let me dispel that myth 100%. I don't care who you choose to be with. If you don't actively try to fall in love with them on a routine basis, they're gone.
Yeah. Flirting.
Yes.
Just flirting.
Just doing activities together.
Mm-hmm.
Just sharing common hobbies. Even if it's, I don't love to watch TV and just binge things.
Sure.
But Annie likes to watch TV.
Yeah.
So you know what we do?
Watch TV and binge things.
We do, but she's watching the show and I'm doing something else, but we call it touching feet. Listen, I don't know.
Touching feet?
You got to touch feet.
Yeah.
Listen, our toes like hold hands together. And this one aspect has saved us more times than I can count.
I agree. What do you think, Cody?
My parents just went to a 70th wedding anniversary.
Ooh, that's amazing.
70
That's
years. The furthest along you. I think they cut you off there.
Yeah. They make you get divorced at that point.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
But they still flirt with each other. Isn't that adorable?
That's so cute, dude.
And I think I sent it to you. I saw some on social media where the guy was talking about, like, if you don't look at your wife and think this is, like, just fall in love with her every time you see her. He's like, that's how it lasts, because his wife passed, the guy in the video, and he was tearing up even thinking about her when she passed, because he was thinking about, here's a woman, this shell she's in now is, like, pretty old. And he's like, and she could be pretty nasty at times in her 90s. Like, she wasn't like she was, But he looked at the sum total of the life they shared together.
And he looked past her physical appearance.
The physical appearance and the even the attitude in the moment. Because I think a lot of us will say, oh, well, we look past skin deep and we go,
mind and spirit.
How do they treat people and what's their
Yeah.
approach to things, and that's what. But even that can change sometimes, and people go through a period, maybe sometimes a long period of being negative or depressed or whatever, and it's almost like it's beyond that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure there's times you don't have to get into it, Marland, but Annie has been difficult. She's always been pretty, but I mean difficult for an extended period of time.
Yes.
And vice versa.
I had this thought over the last couple of weeks, which is in my mind, I don't see, like I realize that we're getting older, but in my mind, I don't see us as old or older.
No.
I still see us as playful.
Yeah.
Like you're like 2 days from the day you met.
Right.
That's exactly right.
It is crazy,
Yeah.
but we're talking, I'm looking at her, I'm like, man, actually, I looked at the kids like, damn, y'all about to be 10.
Why are you so big?
Why are you eating everything, all my food? And I think to myself, I feel like I am still 25.
Can I ask you this? Does she give you peace? I know you're laughing, but think about it. I think she does. I think you like all that, and it brings you some semblance of what you want, peace in your life.
I am at peace. I am like Jesus on the boat when the storm is raging. I am at peace in the boat. Oh, in the storm. Hear me?
I think so, man.
I
believe it.
Because one thing I know, day to day, it's not going to be the same.
Right.
I'm not going to have the same woman tomorrow. When I get home, she's going to be different. That I can 100% guarantee.
It's
But
weird
that's
that
the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You're never going to get bored.
The shelter in the storm is the storm. I don't know how else to
Yeah,
describe it. It's a weird feeling being married to someone you love so much, and it's young, but also they're your peace, and then but it's still playful, and
I tell Kate all the time, like, even when I'm mad at you, you're adorable.
it's the best.
Like the shit you're doing that bothers me, so fucking cute.
I would rather have that person. I want that person to bother me rather than do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
We all love our
I'm
wife.
happy you mentioned your kids because what do you think of the idea of becoming as a father?
Man, I didn't even get a chance to tell you this. My mother-in-law bought my oldest daughter a training bra without our knowledge. So now I've got to fight the two others who think they're growing up as a woman, but baby girl, you and this wall are the same thing.
Again,
Marland.
for the audience, Marland has identical triplets.
They're all triplets. You said the oldest, and I was so confused.
I say that I know I'm going into a season where I am going to need to level up. I'm going to have to expand my patience. I'm going to have to talk differently. I'm going to have to reaffirm differently.
Different awareness.
Everything.
Yeah.
I'm preparing for this. I cannot fathom being remotely in love. If you think I love my wife and she's my peace, my kids, my affection for them is, I feel, exponentially different.
Yeah. I know that.
I can't imagine having kids and not expecting to grow with them.
If anyone has seen you and your kids together, they would see that immediately.
Do you guys talk about this? If something were to happen and there would be an order of protection, an order of death, do you and Kate talk about this?
Say more about it.
That's dark.
Okay, so listen.
Order of Protection is the name of my metal band.
Order of death.
When my family used to live in Europe and we would travel, we had a death order. And it went like this. Because we would go
This is from Harry Potter?
We went to sketchy place. So we went to Israel in,
Orc.
I think, 1994. And these were the biggest guns I've ever seen. So my dad would say, we're going to go travel. If we travel, this is what happens. If something happens, you boy, my younger brother runs first. Then my older brother makes sure that I get away. And then my mom stands between my dad and my older brother. And this was something that we knew all along. So
It's like who protects who.
exactly. So today, Annie and I will talk about if something were to happen, the car turns over, it's filling up with gas,
Who do
it's
we
about
get
to catch a
out
flyer. Who's going to do the one doing the saving? And it's okay if you leave me for last. get the kids out first.
Right.
Like we have these conversations on a regular basis just so that we understand. And I always say like, no, I obviously want you to survive, but it all comes down to who's going to be the one that the kids need the most in order to be able to sustain life.
When I was writing this, the story that you told in one of the previous episodes came to mind. You were talking about your dad's friend that you'd come across, and he was talking to you about his kids and like, hey man, they don't like want to hang out with me. Like I paid for their college and all I want them to do is hang out with me. And you had challenged him like, I don't think you really know your kids. Like I think you know the version of them that was in your house, and you've stopped caring to understand the version of them that they are now. And that really resonated with me. Like I think this idea of being a parent never stops. And maybe this man that you were talking about, like it had kind of stopped for him. Like I'm done. They're out there. They're in the world. It's like, no, man. It's like any other relationship. Like they're going to be different in their 20s than they are in their 30s, than they are in their 40s. And if you're lucky enough and everyone's still alive and they're in their 50s, like that's great. And they're going to be different then too. And so the idea of knowing them it never arrives. You only know the version they are today.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about this because you and I will have opinions. What about becoming as a son?
Oh man, I feel really heavy right now. I don't know why. Well, the experience that I shared earlier with the expectations of the family name. I think living up to the shoes and up to the height of your parents, and mine are extremely generous with their time, their finances, their home, everything. They are servants first. It's really hard to live in the way that they would like me to live, which mirrors their self-sacrifice. One, I admit that I'm more selfish than they are. Two, there are things that I want for my family. I want to prove to my parents that their sacrifice meant that their next generation will have a less hard time.
Like a higher ceiling.
Yeah, a higher ceiling. And so my dad's 88. We talked about that before. He's on the tail end of his existence here on this earth, and which means I only have a little bit more time to prove to him that I was, and I mean this as I say, I was worthy of all of his sacrifices that he invested, and I want to be able to return that.
Yeah.
So that is I don't know if it's a heavier burden as a black male. My dad was the first of his family line to go to college. I am now the first graduate from my brothers to complete my graduate degree. So we've gone one level up. And the expectation for my kids would be that, hey, I want them to dream big too.
Sure.
So I have a really difficult time verbalizing what that really means.
But I hear from you, it's like been a journey.
Yeah.
And it's not set or settled in any way.
And time is running out.
Right. Yeah. And Cody, what do you think? I mean, do you have anything there?
Do you spend a lot of time with your dad?
So, short detour, but I'm going to answer your question. So my younger brother, who was the black sheep of our family for a while, recently graduated with his master's degree in counseling and therapy. Huge shout out to him because he's 37. Like he's overcome a lot legitimately, and I really am proud of him.
Yeah.
During his graduation, we have now confirmed that my dad is early dementia.
Oh man,
that's tough.
Which means there's less time than I thought that I had.
Right.
There's a lot of new stuff coming out to help with this.
Yeah. And the problem being, considering that I work in an industry where we run clinical trials on patients, particularly in Alzheimer's patients, my dad has been content to die for a while.
Sure. You have to be willing to participate in things.
And he's not willing to sacrifice who he thinks he is
Interesting.
for anything. And he's ready and willing to go.
Sure.
So trying to convince him to hang her out a little bit longer so that he can see his grandkids grow up. And just for context, he's lost his firstborn son in 81. He lost his firstborn grandson in 2003 to cancer. And if I'm him, like, I don't know, I'd be begging to go because I don't want to see, I don't have
You're
to
saying
bury.
he's afraid of life.
There's just pain in there.
I think
Like-
there's too much pain that he's
He
experienced.
doesn't want any more to happen to him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to his family
Yeah.
and to the people that he loves. He doesn't want to live longer than the pain that to see the pain that's being caused on them.
So that's different than somebody being fixed. That's somebody that's like wishing for something to not go ahead.
Yeah,
Like, I don't want to evolve into something worse situation. Well, for you though, becoming a son, you ever heard the adage, instead of like live every day like it's your last, like live every day like you got 3 years to live? You ever heard that?
yeah.
And I always think that's an interesting one because it's like, no, you still have some time. What are you doing differently with that knowledge? Or I guess it just happened. Like, you don't really know yet. You're still figuring it out.
My parents are an emotional toll, and if you are a care partner to anybody, then you'll be able to resonate with this. Having the emotional availability to both chase my dreams and to carry them into the sunset is exorbitant. I can't do it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that's a hard, I think that's something I'm wrestling with now as a reality of how do I live and be able to do this? Because there's things I still want to say to my dad.
Yeah.
And we've had better conversations over time, but I don't know if I don't know if I'm willing to accept a world where I can't just like
Call him.
call him.
Yeah.
And by default, because I can't accept it, it's hard to engage knowing that this could be the last August. Could be my last birthday with him. It could be, it's really difficult.
I think about that a lot. My parents are in Atlanta, and we
Our parents both live like 10 minutes, 15 minutes away from each other.
yeah,
So.
and we go back. We got to go back because it was put to me in a really interesting way a couple years ago. Like, okay, how often do you see your parents? Twice a year? How old are they? The average life expectancy is, do the math.
Do you know what?
Like, are you going to see your parents less than 20 times before they're gone?
My dad got me the other day. He messaged me. I had called him. I talk to my parents regularly, but I called him and I FaceTimed him. I don't always FaceTime. I've done it here and there. Usually it's like, hey, how do you fix this? You know, it's like classic. Like yesterday I FaceTimed. I was like, look at the dog's foot. Is this okay? He went to vet school. And for whatever reason, I did it just out of the blue, and like it was a nice conversation, whatever. The next day he goes, hey, could you do that more often, the FaceTime? Like it was just like a little note. He doesn't text a lot, and he was like, I like that. That was better than a call or a text. Like that was nice. Like it was like an unusual thing for him to say. It was like, hey, I like the FaceTime. Can you do that more often? That was nice.
This just happened to me. So mom texted me the other day. My mom doesn't, if she's going to say a hard thing or do a hard thing, she's not going to say it or do it in person.
Yeah.
Right. It's just harder for her that way. She's more of a written person.
100%.
She's going to write. And so she texted me the other day and she's like, why aren't we better friends? And it kind of hit me out of nowhere. And I was like, what? What are you talking? What? And then she kind of had a little bit more to say on it, just, some reasoning behind that. And I had to, of course, my gut reaction, my knee-jerk reaction is immediately like, no, that's not me. I didn't do that. But I had to sit with it for a minute and really think about it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, I could do better to just call you. Because really what she's saying is like, why don't you want to know who I am?
She doesn't know. Yeah, you don't know what's going on with her, really. Like, yeah.
And she's like, why aren't you calling me and telling me like the little shit in your life? I tell me who you are. Why aren't you asking me who I am? Like, Why don't you want to know the little
And
shit?
part
in
of
my
that
life?
happens when you get married and you have kids. Like, it's the passing of, like, this is your family now. You're going to go have those conversations.
The truth is that my mom's badass. She's so rad. And
This is
like
cool.
all the little details of her life are like so interesting and cool. And just who she is as a person is so rad. And I wouldn't be anywhere close to the person I am without my mom. But mom more often calls me as an accidental dial from her back pocket
Then you call
or her purse than she does on purpose. So when she said that to me, I was immediately like, you don't call me. Like, what are we talking about? You call me on accident. But I had to slow down and just respect it for the outreach that it was.
Becoming a son, like, fully is just super complicated.
It really is, and it's never ending.
My mom's dealing with her mom, who's in her 90s.
Right.
And they just had a big thing at the retirement center where the police got involved. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but she was telling me this morning. She was upset about it because she's now in hospice care, so they have the hospital bed in there, and she's in her 90s, and she's happier with it than she was last time I saw her. Apparently, having breakfast in bed will do that to you, right? And so now she's like, I want to read the large print books again. She's like doing stuff. But someone was a little rough with her. Someone came in and was like,
oh yeah, that happened to my grandma.
taking her pillow kind of hard.
Yeah.
Get over. You can get over. Why are you shaking? What is going on? And my grandma's not the type to raise a fuss. Never has been. And she said something to my mom. My mom's the type to raise a fuss, unfortunately, for my grandma, who was like, you better not say anything. And my mom's like, I'm going to say something at least to the lady you normally deal with. Well, that place, zero tolerance policy. They don't mess around with that elder abuse stuff. Even if it's just like a minor complaint. Oh, she was a little rough with her. She took her pillow, kind of yelled at her a little bit. Well, they're like, yep, she's fired. And they were like, whoa, that seems extreme. And it's like, hey, we just don't mess with that.
Right, because it's a slippery slope.
And
Yeah.
and actually that lady deals in the memory care unit. And so, it's too easy for her to get away with it. So like, we just not taking any chances. It takes a couple complaints, but apparently something happened.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, you mentioned the retirement memory care community, and it made me think of business. And being a professional is kind of one of the ecosystem arms or fingers. And Cody, you had a great story about this the other day in Cody's Corner, which was you were talking about how you can be so busy with one thing that you actually kind of sacrifice another facet of your professional your professional kind of skill set.
you neglect something.
And then you will use your team of employees that work under you
All the
sometimes to
time.
train you up on things. But I think a lot of people are too proud to do that.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about the idea of becoming as a professional?
Go ahead, Marland. Do you have something on that?
I gave a presentation this week to a different team in my company. Older gentleman, probably in his late 50s for sure, maybe early 60s. He started the presentation by walking through 12 different open jobs with this team of 30. And and I'm the guest speaker, he spent 12 minutes going through each and every opportunity for his team. I could not present without acknowledging what a rare and special leader that they have.
Yeah.
I say that to say, you don't see leadership often, period. Not at work, not on the basketball court, not in society often.
Like good, ideal, effective leadership.
Good, someone where you can say, man.
Oh, shit, that's a leader.
Yeah, that for sure.
Rare trait.
Because, Cody, to your example of asking the people underneath you to train you, true leadership is humility. It's service. It's getting out of your own way for the betterment of the other people that are there. And even in the Odysseus movie, he was so worried about his crew and refused to accept the premonition of where the crew would go and desperately tried to save his crew.
Each and every one.
Each and every one of them.
Yeah.
So that's really along the lines of leadership. And that's I think, where my love affair with corporate has taken a very sharp and abrupt jump off of any cliff that's nearby because
All the cliffs.
Yeah, all the cliffs, because that's who I want to be. That's what Good Men Trying is, if you're listening. And we want to be able to mimic those values and put those onto display so that we can pass along all this institutional knowledge that we have about life onto somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, and in the corporate world, if things are functioning, the people who are curious and who are adapting are working their way up, hopefully, and good leaders are bringing them up. And that's why it's rare, because not everybody can be up.
Yeah.
So and I also think to have a good leader, you also have to have people that aren't fixed, that aren't just going, hey, just tell me what to do and I'll just do it. You know what I mean? And like willing to be inspired, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate. I have a great team, people around me. My leader, my mentor is really good. But I've seen it in other situations where I know what you're talking about. It is more rare than it is. You don't see it very often.
Shout out to mentors. I think we will do in the future a little.
Brett's got a whole thing he wants to do.
I got a soapbox to stand on.
If we could normalize mentorship, that would be a good thing. If we could just do that, I would be really happy.
I want to say one quick thing about mentors real quick, and then we'll move on.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to do this to us. But Kate has this really fun philosophy that you should have one hand forward and one hand back. So your hand forward is holding on to your mentor, and your mentor is pulling you up, giving you knowledge. They're passing down knowledge. They're passing down roadblocks. They're passing down directions, anticipating challenges. And they're up higher than you on the mountain, and they're looking down like, watch out for that. Okay, take 2 steps that way. Okay, you need to learn how to climb rocks because you got to climb rocks there, right? But you also have a hand back, and you're pulling up the person behind you, and you're going, I was just there. I did that. Watch out for this. Talk to that person. You should go have lunch with this person because this person's doing the thing that you want. And not only are they doing the thing you want, but I thought about you the other day when I was talking to them, and I talked about you to them. And so now you've got a really good warm handoff there where you can go do that thing. And that is literal glue. It is what glues us together.
Well, and also the best way to learn is by teaching. So like sometimes at work, somebody will show me something, then I go show somebody, then I make them show somebody. We all show, so because you get to learn it and then you get to teach it. And I think everything we're talking about today, becoming and continuing, and the continuous self is learning, right? But also passing that knowledge on into some facet. Like growing isn't just about you. It's about your family. Like you were saying, becoming a son. How do you treat your dad differently now? It's not about how you interpret what he is. What do you put back into the relationship? Your mom, that was a great example, Brett. Like you're doing a lot of introspection, but sometimes you're like, oh, how am I affecting this person?
Right.
It's like empathy.
Yeah, 100%. Empathy, another thing we should do a whole entire episode. All right, I'm gonna round out the fingers of the ecosystem. What do you guys think of becoming as a friend?
Can you give an example of what you mean by that?
Yeah, so we've kind of talked about this in our friendship episode a little bit. I have a friend, RM Koza, shout out RM Koza, who is a beautiful, beautiful soul. But we met in a very chaotic period in our lives, and were basically bonded by fighting and drinking.
They were rough boys, rough house.
And that mentality only survives so long into marriage and fatherhood. But for the longest time, and music, I should say that too. We played a lot of music together. All of our stories, every time we talked, was just reminiscing about the shows we played together and the fights we got in and how much we drank, and when we were drunk and we stole that sign from the apartment complex and drove it home and put it in our yard, like the dumbest stuff. But it was fun, but it was dumb. And you can only really do that for so long before that stagnates, because it's no longer growing.
Yeah.
It's a fixed thing. You've talked about this before. Like your building has capped out and it's not growing anymore. It's just this high and it will only ever be this high. But actually, Koza and I kept at it. We worked at it quite a bit. We talked and we talked. And eventually we reconnected very deeply on fatherhood and on marriage and on all of these places that we were currently in our lives. And that is a great example to me of becoming in a friendship. Like it evolved. It became what it needed to be to suit us now. And so I think a lot of friendships rely on history alone.
Yeah.
And nothing in the present. And I don't know that those are built to survive, if that makes sense.
If you hearken back
to the
friendship episode, I actually, during the course of season 1, have sunset a couple of relationship actually because of it. Because I think we can memorialize what we had, and the longer that we try to keep it going, the more angry I just get. Because it doesn't align with where I want to go. We're not having productive conversations, and I don't want to go back in time.
You can't be you who you are now.
Correct. More specifically, the time that I'm in now is the best time of my life.
Right.
So going back to yesteryear, for me at least, is not productive because everything that I'm dealing with is about the here and now.
Yeah.
And even some of my closer friends' relationships have started to evolve. And when I shared some of my, lack of confidence, some of the people that I had never imagined that I would open up to, we've become closer through vulnerability and welcoming them into the inward place.
Right.
So I'm with you. I as a matter of fact, I think if things don't evolve or change differently, I would ask a lot more questions.
No, I remember you talking about that possibly happening. That's interesting because we never really followed up on that. You started questioning things back then. But yeah, I guess for myself, I don't know. I do this sometimes. We're all guilty of like over reminiscing, I think. But sometimes it's good. I like the reminiscing and I like the storytelling as a way to see progress.
Mm-hmm.
And your perception of things changes so greatly over time. That's why eyewitness accounts are unreliable, right? But even like it feels like another life sometimes, these stories with your friends. But what I think is the separating factor is if that's where if someone's telling you that as I wish we could go back, or that's where I'm still at, or wasn't that great, and I'm over here thinking, oh man, I'm so glad I'm not that person anymore, or not like that anymore, or all these great things have happened since then, I would never go back to that, That's where I think the disconnect starts happening to me. And I've definitely had those moments where, because I like the story, but then it's like, as a story, I don't want to live in a way that those kind of things are happening to me anymore. You know what I mean? I would like.
I have this idea of like people as monuments, and like some people do become monuments to their own opinions. Like the healthiest people are the ones who can kind of carry their values downstream with them. Like, they can stand on their convictions, but be flexible with their conclusions, if that makes sense. They can intrinsically know that they have certain values and respect those values, encourage those values, act on those values, but still take on new information and change. And I think about this over the course of decades, and how hard it will be for us when we're older. Like a lifetime is many, many decades. And I think back to even what the 80s was like. And
some people say the pinnacle of
what was right and what was allowable in the 80s.
The beginning of the end.
Comedy in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Eddie Murphy Raw.
Movies in the 80s. And then take that and do another 40 years.
Yeah, well, what is social opinion? You kind of got into it a little bit earlier, and we'll probably get into it if we do a thing on empathy, but about how people will judge someone too about when they've evolved, when they've gone past a stage. We don't allow for it almost in society. We want people to be a monolith in a story, especially the bigger somebody's a celebrity or something.
We're encouraged.
You represent this now to us, and how dare you be something else? Or if they did something bad and now they're a good person, well, you're forever a bad person, right? Because we're never going to forget what you did. If you didn't properly atone somehow in the court of public opinion.
And that's my point, though, is like every decade asks you to be something different.
Yeah.
And if you're not allowing for that in yourself, if you're not allowing for yourself to take on new information and kind of roll with the punches and
forgive yourself.
Don't be too proud to forgive yourself. of
have
some
humility, like all
past opinion or sin or action or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that was. We'll bring it back to the Odyssey again, but that was the whole thing, was like finding the forgiveness, right? It was a bit of a Oppenheimer. Matt Damon kind of said that in one of the interviews. He's like, yeah, I thought of Oppenheimer when I first read it. It was like, here's a guy who released the atom bomb. It was like, shit. Like, and that was the story, was to like kind of, I don't know. And it's a little bit Interstellar too, like, going away from your family and coming back after a long time.
Well, in the Odyssey, when he asked something about writing it down, they won't be able to write it down because they will forget to read, and so all they'll have left is songs.
That's right.
And
or stories.
Stories.
Well, because that was isn't that Homer meant like song, right? Like basically, yeah.
That was powerful, and this concept or idea that throughout the decades or throughout time, whether you live through it or not, you look back and judge those individuals really harshly, which full circle moment. And the irony is that one of the reasons why people during this past World Cup were so upset with Argentina was, one, they didn't have any black players on their team. And so then the narrative got spun that they were, as a whole entire country, racist, which, listen, did the Nazis, or at least many people from World War II in Germany and Italy, go to Argentina after war? Yes, absolutely. But so did many Jewish people. As a matter of fact, the Mossad ended up finding two of the generals from World War II in Argentina. Now, fast forward into today's time, the second reason outside of that people were upset with them was that the way in which they dealt with their indigenous population, they proactively married people into their community.
That was it.
So now Argentina is a melting pot. But if we just take for 1 second and compare that history with history of, pick a country.
In Europe.
United States.
Yeah.
Europe. Or anything else. It's so diabolical because the people that they're now hating on are essentially a handful of mixed race individuals.
It's also the most hypocritical thing in the world.
It is very
just to
hypocritical.
even bring it up.
To pick a country and say everyone from there is this.
Yes.
You can't hear that in your own head and be like, you realize you sound just like the
people who say all that about America.
You're the same, two sides of the same coin here, guys.
Yeah. I think people
discounting a lot of people
enjoy, for whatever reason. I do think there is some evidence that it makes people feel better about themselves to hate another group.
Sure, just to point a finger.
Absolutely, because at
least I'm not them.
Because it takes away the requirement from looking inward.
Correct. It's all external.
And becoming. So, as we think about the entire ecosystem of the masculine world and how we start to evolve through it, I think one question that you always have to ask yourself is the motivation of the reasons why I'm trying to become better specifically inward, or the external motivations?
Right.
Sure, external motivations such as family, such as pride, other things may exist. And as you're thinking about growth and thinking about, hey, if I can get there, I can just build my monument. Monuments, one, get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
They're the first things that are targeted
torn
in a conflict.
Down.
They get torn down. They get repurposed. They get defaced. They get all these types of things. And so it's back to your example about being the rock or the monument in that stream. It's way more productive and way more useful for society for you to continue on your journey. And if and when you are of age to pile up in the corner but then you create your own ecosystem. You have beavers then start to build dams there, and a small sub ecosystem inside that pond starts to develop because of your presence.
Sure.
So you are never really, you have the opportunity to stop growing, but the opportunity to encourage life is also there.
Yeah. And if I could land the plane kind of on that, it's life isn't inherently asking you to arrive anywhere. It's an open palette. It can be whatever it needs to be, whatever it will be. Yeah. It is going to be whatever it will be. But it is asking you to become something. And so you fully can take control of this becoming and guide that and steer that in a way that benefits you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all, at least in this episode, we're really asking anyone to do is just pay attention to what the motivations are. Pay attention to what the goals are, what the end goals are. And if you are lucky enough to reach those end goals, don't stop setting goals.
Yeah.
I would encourage everyone who's listening, if you're still listening at this point in the episode, to please it's a moving goalpost. As soon as you achieve something, try to find the next thing. As soon as you land somewhere, try to find the next thing. And it doesn't have to be the next cool thing. It could be the next interesting thing. Whatever motivates you to continue on the journey is the right choice.
My takeaway is something you said earlier, which is if you feel like you've arrived, then bring somebody with you.
Yeah.
You know, one hand forward, one hand back, right? Somebody's helping you to get there. Now if you feel like you've reached another level, what are you doing for the people in your life around you?
Yeah. How can you set the road up for them to
and
travel?
That's really how you get to the next level. At least that's how it's been for me. Like, the more I help other people, the more I end up helping myself. Not even intentionally, but it's like that's just how life is. Grow your network. And
no man is an island, but a continent unto themselves.
Oh, I like that.
Is that John Milton?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll post it in the show notes.
Roman
We ain't here for the postures or the masks we wear, not the highlight reels or the half-truth shared. We talk repairs, staying when it's easier to run, showing up for the work when the honeymoon's done. Fathers, partners, friends, learning how to be, listening more than we speak, choosing honesty. No gurus, no crowns, just truth in the trying. We ain't lying, this is good man trying.